Be a worker for the Lord. I want to love and trust His holy word. I want to sing and pray and be busy every day in the vineyard of the Lord. I will work, I will pray in the vineyard of the Lord. I will work, I will pray, I will labor every day in the vineyard of the Lord.
Hello, 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 hello. I am back by the grace of God. Thank you for coming in. It's just me today. We send prayers for Sister Cousin Lisa. She isn't feeling her best. I'm not either, but by the grace of God, I'm here. So let's get to it. Today, we're going to talk about the oracles of God. I am going to read Genesis chapters 25 and 26. I will be reading from the New King James Version. So if you have your Bibles, let's get started. All right, so Genesis 25. Abraham again took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Verse 2. And she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Verse 3. Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Asherim, Letum, and Lumen. Verse 4. And the sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanoch, Abadai, and Eldai. All these were the children of Keturah. Verse 5. And Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac. Verse 6. But Abraham gave gifts to the sons of the concubines which Abraham had. And while he was still living, he sent them eastward, away from Isaac his son, to the country of the east. Verse 7. This is the sum of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 175 years. Verse 8. Then Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. Verse 9. And his son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the film of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite. Verse 10. The field which Abraham purchased from the sons of Heth, there Abraham was buried, and Sarah his wife. Verse 11. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac. And Isaac dwelt at Beer Lahai Roi. Verse 12. Now, this is the genealogy of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's maidservant, bore to Abraham. Verse 13. And these were the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael was Nebojah, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam. Verse 14. Mishma, Duma, Massa. Verse 15. Hedar, Tema, Juter, Nephish, and Kedemah. Verse 16. These were the sons of Ishmael, and these were their names, by their towns and their settlements, 12 princes according to their nations. Verse 17. These were the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he breathed his last and died and was gathered to his people. Verse 18. They dwelt from Havilah as far as Shur, which is east of Egypt, as you go towards Assyria. He died in the presence of all his brethren. Verse 19. This is the genealogy of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. Verse 20. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah as wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Verse 21. Now Isaac pleaded with the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord granted his plea, and Rebekah his wife conceived. Verse 22. But the children struggled together within her, and she said, If all is well, why am I like this? So she went to inquire of the Lord. Verse 23. And the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. Two peoples shall be separated from your body. One people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. Verse 24. So when her days were fulfilled for her to give birth, indeed there were twins in her womb. Verse 25. And the first came out red. He was like a hairy garment all over. So they call his name Esau. Verse 26. Afterwards, his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. Verse 27. So the boys grew, and Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field. But Jacob was a mild man, dwelling in tents. Verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Verse 29. Now Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. Verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary. Therefore his name was called Edom. Verse 31. But Jacob said, sell me your birthright as of this day. Verse 32. And Esau said, look, I am about to die. So what is this birthright to me? Verse 33. Then Jacob said, swear to me of this day. So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Verse 34. And Jacob gave Esau bread and stew of lentils. Then he ate and drank, arose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. All right, bear with me a moment here. Okay, so we do have Miss Lisa today. I don't know if you can hear, but she's here. Okay. All right. So I am going to read the rest of the rest of the scripture. Sorry about that. Bear with me here. Okay. So she's just here for more support. So at least we got to see her for just a second. Okay. All right. So back to now we'll go to Genesis 26. So let's go to Genesis 26. Give me one moment here. All right, so now let's see what happened in Genesis 26, and it reads like this. There was a famine in the land, besides the first famine that was the days of Abraham, and Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. Verse 2. Then the Lord appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land of which I shall tell you. Verse 3. Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your descendants I give all these lands, and I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. Verse 4. And I will make your descendants multiply as the stars of heaven. I will give to your descendants all these lands, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Verse 5. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Verse 6. So Isaac dwelt in Gerar. Verse 7. And the men of the place asked about his wife, and he said, she is my sister. For he was afraid to say, she is my wife, because he thought, lest the men of the place kill me for Rebekah, because she is beautiful to behold. Verse 8. Now it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through a window and saw, and there was Isaac showing endearment to Rebekah his wife. Verse 9. Then Abimelech called Isaac and said, quite obviously, she is your wife. So how could you say, this is my sister? Isaac said to him, because I said, lest I die on account of her. Verse 10. And Abimelech said, what is this you have done to us? One of the people might soon have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. Verse 11. So Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he who touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Verse 12. Then Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. The man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous. Verse 14. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great number of servants. So the Philistines envied him. Verse 15. Now the Philistines had stopped up all the wells which his father's servant had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and they had filled them with earth. Verse 16. And Abimelech said to Isaac, go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. Verse 17. Then Isaac departed from there and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. Verse 18. And Isaac dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. He called them by the names which his father had called them. Verse 19. Also Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found a well of running water there. Verse 20. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, the water is ours. So he called the name of the well Esek, because they quarreled with him. Verse 21. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one also. So he called its name Sitnah. Verse 22. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called its name Rehoboth, because he said, for now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. Verse 23. Then he went up from there to Beersheba. Verse 24. And the Lord appeared to him the same night and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake. Verse 25. So he built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. And he pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants dug a well. Verse 26. Then Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzah, one of his friends, and Pilshah, the commander of his army. Verse 27. And Isaac said to them, why have you come to me, since you hate me and have sent me away from you? Verse 28. But they said, we have certainly seen that the Lord is with you. So we said, let there now be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you. Verse 29. That you will do us no harm, since we have not touched you, and since we have done nothing to you but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord. Verse 30. So he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. Verse 31. Then they arose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another, and Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. Verse 32. It came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, we have found water. Verse 33. So he called it Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. Verse 34. When Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. Verse 35. And they were a grief of mind to Isaac and Rebekah. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for listening. I hope that you are blessed. Have a wonderful day. And until tomorrow, I love you. Bye.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound